What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Niners News here on 49ers Hive. My name is Zach Hernandez, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Matt Llewellyn, and today we're going to be discussing whether or not JaMycal Hasty is making Wayne Gallman expendable. Matt, through 2 preseason games, JaMycal Hasty has looked pretty impressive, if I say so myself. Wayne Gallman was signed as a free agent from the New York Giants, and a lot of people had pretty high hopes for him. Is that still the case? Do you think JaMycal Hasty is slowly climbing up that depth chart?
I don't even think it's that slow. I think Hasty's looked really good. After preseason week 1 in my notes, I wrote, man, I really like Hasty, but it looks like he's still the odd man out. I know he had the fumble, and we all know what Kyle likes to do with guys who fumble the ball, but Hasty still got a lot of run this game, and he looked really good doing it. And I've been more impressed by what I see out of Hasty than what I see out of Wayne Gallman. Hasty showed promise last year until he broke his arm. And this is a situation where they cannot afford to try to put him on the practice squad because somebody will take him. So to me, it's more likely that they can get away with cutting Gallman, and Gallman will just sit in free agency if they need him down the road than if you cut Hasty. So if I'm looking at both short-term upside and the ability to potentially keep both on the roster if you need them, to me, Hasty has to be the guy that stays. Right now, Hasty is running back 3 for me. Okay,
I like that. I remember before the first preseason game against the Chiefs, we all discussed it, and we were like, oh, man, Hasty's out of here. He's the odd man out, just like you said. I think he's done a pretty good job at earning his spot. He's looked good. He's looked quick. I'd argue he looked better than he did before his injury, and his running style really fits what the 49ers are doing and what Kyle Shanahan likes in a running back. He's patient enough to let the holes develop. He's got the vision to find the correct holes. Wayne Gallman, on the other hand, I don't think he's stood out to me. He's looked like a solid back. Would I say he's an improvement over Tevin Coleman? Yes. However, that's not saying much. Bar. Exactly. Yeah, that's not saying much. So I think that he was brought in for competition, maybe with the thought that JaMycal Hasty wasn't going to out-earn his spot, maybe. Work. Right. I don't want to say work harder, but impress more than Gallman is, because he is the veteran and he was signed for more money. But I think Hasty has done a fantastic job at earning his spot. I was looking at his stats here, and against the Chiefs, he had 10 carries for 63 yards, a touchdown, the fumble, like you mentioned. With one long carry of 21 yards. And then against the Chargers Sunday, he had 19 carries for 58 yards with long of 7. So he's consistent, and that's what I like the most. And I think a Raheem Mostert, Trey Sermon, JaMycal Hasty, and then Jeff Wilson, once he comes back from that injury, that's a fantastic running back room right there.
Yeah, and it's not even like Gallman played bad. I think he had 15 for 72 against the Chargers. But, again, you add 3 catches for 21 yards for Hasty. And it's just, there's something to be said for always showing up on tape and putting your name out on tape. And you're hearing your name called. There's Hasty for this. There's Hasty for that. There's Hasty for this. And so I think that is going to stick with the coaches. And again, it's potential versus, what you have. Gallman's been around the league for a couple of years. You kind of know what he is at this point. But Hasty's rookie season got cut short with that injury. Like you said, he's looked better so far. I think that's because, he got in the weight room and he packed on a little weight. And that can help him out immensely. I just think that if you look at it from a standpoint of who can we cut and still potentially keep around, that has to be Gallman. Because like I said, if you try to put Hasty on this practice squad, he is not going to make it. Somebody will take him. Bar none, not even a question. It was questionable last year because he was, again, when we signed him as an undrafted free agent, I think a lot of us were like, oh, that's a good signing. That's an exciting one. So, I think it does definitely make a difference. Just that potential, especially when you're talking about, even if you thought Gallman was marginally better, but Hasty had higher upside, or Gallman had performed better or whatever, if you think Hasty has a higher upside as your running back 3 and potentially running back 4 depending on how Elijah Mitchell / Jeff Wilson Jr. fit into the mix down the line. Just keep the guy with the higher upside. This isn't playing it safe is good in some scenarios, but in other ways, it's really bad. If you're looking for those diamonds in the rough that you can shape into superstars or potential, serious contributors to a team, when most teams are made up of a lot of undrafted free agents, you really have to look at the upside and weigh that against the downside risks. And I think that there's, Hasty might fumble a little bit more than Gallman, but I think that Hasty has the potential to be far more explosive than Gallman is and contribute in the passing game more than Gallman does. So I think at this point, we're looking at a JaMycal Hasty who has come back, looks better than he did last year, had a big year 1 to year 2 improvement from what I've seen so far, and who the team can groom to become potentially somebody that they can rely on. It's the same thing with, with Breida for a while there. It's like he got, 5 carries or 4 carries or whatever. And then the next year he was featured far more heavily because they saw improvement. And I think that this could be a similar situation where you're finding that diamond in the rough and you're taking a chance on upside.
Yeah, most definitely. I was doing the math real quick. So Hasty's averaged 4.1 yards per carry, Gallman 4.4 yards per carry. Not saying much through 2 preseason games.
Right.
Gallman, I don't think took too many snaps in the first preseason game against the Chiefs. He only had 6 carries for 21 yards. But yeah, I think you touched on it there, Matt, with the receiving capabilities of JaMycal Hasty out the backfield. That's something that's big, especially when your quarterback's in trouble and you just need that check down pass to save your life. Hasty's there and he's dependable. And I like that about him. Also, it might not be much, but if we're talking, inches to who has the edge here, Gallman's 26, Hasty's 24. In running back age, that's like, I don't know, it's like, is that converted to dog years? Is that 7 years in running backs?
Yeah.
They take a pounding. So it's worth noting, I think, even if it's not much, the age difference. So I think so, though. I think Hasty's done a pretty good job. And I was a little surprised that they didn't try to, I don't want to say cut him, but through preseason, he's gotten as much work as he's gotten. Did that surprise you at all? Or were you expecting him to get a lot of work?
I think you it's hard to say, right? Because once you get into these like 3rd and 4th string battles, you really don't know which way it's going to go. But I think that it says something that Kyle likes Hasty with how much he's been played. But Gallman's gotten a lot of carries. I mean, they essentially split carries last night. There were 34 carries. Hasty got 19. Gallman got 15. I mean, they both were workhorses last night, or I'm sorry, Sunday night. So obviously he wants to see, and I think this is like he's trying to make a decision right now, and I think that that's why both of them got so much play. I think that this is going to go forward and still be similar in terms of how many carries that they have in the 3rd preseason game. It's going to depend on if Raheem Mostert plays at all in the preseason or if Trey Sermon can come back, what that load is going to look like for the two of them. But I fully expect them to both have similar number of carries, and it's kind of like a may the best man win scenario going forward right now. But there's no doubt about it in my mind that, this is an important battle because we know that Shanahan likes to run 3 running backs in a game for sure. All 3 will get carries.
Yeah, most definitely. It seems like both of us are kind of leaning more towards Hasty right now if we had to choose. Would you agree with that?
I would choose Hasty for sure.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Same here. I think that time will tell again, just like our other episodes this week. But Hasty's done a fantastic job. My last question for you is, whoever doesn't make it, any chance they get traded, or running backs are just so invaluable they're just going to get cut to sign with another team?
No chance they're going to get cut. No one's going to trade for a running back.
Fair enough. Always
they're going to cut him either way. That's the thing. People want trades, but then it's like, well, why would you trade for somebody that they're going to have to release because they have to get down to 53?
That's fair. Yep. Well, with that, guys, that's going to conclude this episode of Niners News. Drop a comment below. Do you think JaMycal Hasty might make Wayne Gallman expendable? Do you think he's going to make the roster over Wayne Gallman? Drop your comments below. Hit that subscribe button as well while you're there.
Go ahead and click the like button, click the bell for notifications, follow us on all our social media. We love interacting with you guys. We love having videos for you. We're coming out with new content all the time, especially as we kick it into high gear for the regular season coming up. So thank you as always for joining us. And until next time, go Niners.